Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about volume. And when we talked about volume back a couple months ago, we talked about two different ways to find volume. One of the ways to find volume is using cubes that look like this, and the other way is to use the formula. We're going to talk about our cubes first before we get into the formula for it. So whenever we find volume, we are usually talking about cubes that look like this. Typically they are 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch cubes. This is 1 inch, this is 1 inch, this is 1 inch. We have to look at the length, width, and height of the figures. So as we look at this figure, the volume of this figure here is just simply 1 inch. It has a length of 1, a width of 1, and a height of 1. The volume of it is 1. Now, I can look at this figure here, okay? I notice that it's three-dimensional. We can find the volume of three-dimensional figures. A figure has to be three-dimensional in order to have a volume. It's how much things can fit inside of that figure. So if I look at this figure here, this figure is composed of 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes. Therefore, this figure has a volume of 4 cubic inches. Volume is measured in cubic inches. Cubic because there's 3 different parts to volume: the length, the width, and the height. So the volume of this figure is 4 cubic inches. We can find the volume of bigger cubes or rectangular prisms that look like this. If I have it facing this way, I see that my base here has 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes in it, okay? But that's not the volume of the figure. I also have to look at how far that base goes backwards. 1, 2, 3, it has 3 layers on it. So I can multiply 4 times 3, which is 12, in order to find the volume. But I can also just count just to make sure as well. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 cubes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the volume of this figure here is 12 cubic units. Last but not least, we have a little bit of a bigger figure here, and it looks like this. Okay, this right here is my base. So on my base, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cubes. And I need to look and see how far it goes back so that it has 2 layers. So 10 times 2 I know is 20. So this figure right here has a volume of 20 cubic units. Again, I can also count just to make sure. I know there's 10 on this front side. I can turn it around. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 10 on the back side. 10 plus 10 is 20. That also works as well. Some other times you may be given drawings of figures, and you may be asked to find the volume of those. For example, if I draw out this rectangular prism, and I tell you that the length is 9, the width is 2, and the height is 4. I have got to use the formula in order to find the volume of that. There's no blocks there for me to count. So this is where it's important for us to know what the formula is for volume. For volume, you would need to multiply the length times width times height. So for this problem here, the length is 9. I would need to do 9 times the width is 2 times the height, which is 4, in order to find the volume. Everyone should have learned about the commutative property. It doesn't matter which order you multiply in, so you can really multiply in any order and still get the same answer. For me, I'm going to start with 9 times 4. I know that 9 times 4 is 36. Now I've got to take the 36 and multiply it by 2 in order to figure out what my total volume is here. So I'm going to set this problem up over here. I know that 6 times 2 is 12, carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So the volume of this figure here is 72 cubic units. Okay? Now, let's talk about another figure. This figure is 10 inches tall. It is 3 inches wide and 3 inches long and 1 inch wide. If I use my formula, my length is 3, width is 1, height is 10, so I've got to multiply these things in order to find the volume. Well, I know that 3 times 1 is 3. Now I've got to multiply 3 times 10. Well, I know that 3 times 10 is 30. It is inches. Cubed can be marked with a little 3 as an exponent above there. Hopefully this has kind of re-jogged your memory on what volume is, and you will be able to use it on the activities in class and on the EOG at the end of the year. So please make sure that if you have any questions, you do ask your teacher.